Let's take a look at some of the coolest custom PS5s. One of the coolest things about a brand new console generation is thinking about all of the awesome special editions we're gonna see over the next decade or so, and then thinking about how I won't be able to afford any of them. Those first few years are the best because there aren't really a lot of special editions, and everyone gets to come up with their own custom editions that they think would look super cool. And I hope that Sony and Microsoft on their side of the fence are watching and looking at what people want so that they know when they finally start releasing these things what they should be making. And I think the reason that they take so long to make them is because they usually wait until the mid-cycle refresh when they get the console that's going to ride out the rest of the generation, because they don't want to sink all of this time and energy into making special edition launch consoles when they're just going to replace them with a new, cooler looking one a few years later. And since Sony seems like they're taking their sweet time on announcing any of their own special editions, I thought I'd pick out some of my favorites from around the internet to show you guys and talk about today, because hey, it might inspire you to go make one of your own. Real quick before we get into it though, make sure you're PSReady by subscribing and setting your notifications to all. I feel like I'm the outlier with Ghost of Tsushima. I really like it. I've been chipping away at it for a few months now, but it's not hitting me and hooking me as hard as it hooked most other people. But I gotta say, this custom console is doing the trick. When I look at it, I wanna boot up my PS5 and play Ghost of Tsushima because it's just that cool. It was created by a guy named Xbox Pope who comes up with a bunch of different special edition console concepts to get people excited about what we could see in the future. And honestly, this one is good enough where I feel like it could be an official console. Like, I could make some pretty cool art that I feel like would trick people into thinking it is official. If you've been watching the channel for a little bit, you know that the one thing I absolutely want the most is for Sony to release a black edition of the PS5. I think it's cool that they went out of their way and made something different with the white edition. It kind of calls back to the PS1, which was sort of like an off-white gray, but at the end of the day, black just looks so much better to me. So making the base of this console black and giving it those red Ghost of Tsushima accents, oh my god, it just looks so good. I also like the Japanese text on the side, and it's not too much. It's just enough that makes it look like it would still be cool next to my TV and not be gaudy or weird looking when someone walks in my house. Like, it doesn't look like a toy. I feel like that's the most important thing about it. All right, for the second custom console, let's take a look at one that's actually, you know, real, because this is the bad boy that we started the channel with, the Watercooled PS5. Actually, I don't think we started the channel with it, but it was definitely like one of the first videos we made on the channel was about this Watercooled PS5. And yeah, I said it really quick, so I'm gonna say it again. This thing is actually real to the point where the person who made it is accepting pre-orders of some sort on one of these consoles. So if you really want a water-cooled PS5 for some reason, this is the guy to go to because he made it and he made a video detailing exactly how he made it. I think this console looks really cool because it's got this industrial sort of look where it's a deconstructed PS5. It's got the internal guts sort of in like a silver metallic PS5 chassis type deal, and then it's got some frosted glass on the outside, or frosted plastic probably, and a bunch of cool colored LEDs, and it's topped off with these really cool side spikes that are like deconstructed versions of the plates that you have on the current PS5. It's just an awesome look overall, and the coolest thing you get with it is that it overall reduces the size of the console. Not by much, because you've still got those tall spikes, but it reduces it enough where it might be something that's worth checking out if you have nowhere to put your PS5 when you eventually do get one. The most interesting thing about this console though is that water cooling doesn't actually work as well as the big fan that's already in the PS5. We found that out because the video this console was announced with actually had some thermal data in it, and people compared that with thermal data from their own consoles, and yeah, the PS5 stock is actually kept a lot cooler by that giant fan. So it's nice to see that Sony's big bet on making the PS5 huge by including a massive fan within it actually paid off, because there's no way your console's going to overheat with that thing keeping it cool. So that's actually awesome. Sony didn't cheap out, they used a really big fan and it paid off. And I think that's really cool because lately I feel like the sentiment around Sony has been kind of negative, so now we get to point out a really good thing about him, and I like that a lot. So yeah, like I mentioned, the guy who's making these actually hopes to make more and allow people to pre-order them and buy them for themselves, which is kind of cool because I feel like at some point you'd actually be able to send yours over to him and then he would modify it for you. But yeah, this is like definitely gonna break the warranty. We're gonna try and get our hands on one so we can do a video on it because like it's such a cool thing to look at. But yeah, I don't think I would rush out right away and replace your PS5 with a water-cooled one just yet. Look, I understand that The Last of Us Part 2 was a controversial game when it came out, and I know the intro to that game is very, very sad, no spoilers, but it made me tear up just a little bit. But at the end of the day, I love that game. It was one of my favorite games of last year. I really liked Ellie, I really liked Abby. I know you guys are clicking off the video right now, but I just like The Last of Us world. I like the aesthetic of it. So this custom PS5 with a side plate that has Ellie's fern tattoo up it is just so damn cool. And I honestly want to try it myself. Like, I'm gonna go on on Etsy after this video and try and find a vinyl sticker of that tattoo because it looks so cool on the side of the PS5. Now, of course, you guys might remember that you can actually get a PS4 Pro with this tattoo engraved in the side of it, and to me, that one's just a little bit cooler, A, because it's engraved, and B, because the console is black. But eventually, when the factions mode comes out for Last of Us Part 2, I'm just crossing my fingers that at the very least, Sony finally releases some side plates that we can buy and just snap on the sides of our PS5, and that one of them is an edition of the Last of Us Part 2 version where we get this sweet, awesome fern up the side of it. I know it's just a plant, but it's just such a cool tattoo, and I feel like it would look awesome on the side of my console. Don't sue me. All right, you guys don't have to admit it down in the comments, but I know there's some people out there who definitely spent a little bit of money extra to get a PS5 from a scalper, and that's totally fine. I know I would want one too if I wasn't able to get one at launch, but this one is really gonna break the bank because it's a full-on gold-plated PS5 that also comes with a gold-plated DualSense and a gold-plated Pulse 3D headset. Like, they went all out with this bad boy. So the interesting thing is that not only was this console announced before the PS5's price, but also the price of it was announced before then, and they said at the time they were only going to make 250 of them, and I feel like they didn't sell out because you can still buy them almost a year later. Like, you can go on the website right now and you can get a gold one, you can get a rose gold one, or you can get a platinum one. So obviously people weren't jumping to buy a gold-plated PS5, which honestly is not what I would expect. Like, I'm actually kind of happy that people didn't go and drop $10,000 on a gold-plated PS5. Like, I know, $800 seemed like a lot to me, but man, I cannot imagine spending over $10,000 on a PS5. So interestingly, you can also buy the accessories separate. So if you really want a gold-plated DualSense controller, that's gonna run you about $1,000. And if you really, really want a gold-plated Pulse 3D wireless headset, that's only gonna cost you $900. So for around $2,000, AKA the price of a good gaming computer, you can buy 2 accessories for your PS5 and flex on all your friends. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you how to spend your money. It might be worth it to you, but I don't think anyone should spend that, let alone $10,000 on a PS5. That's just me. All right, now we've reached my favorite PS5 on this list, which was a Special Edition PS2 inspired PS5 that was promptly ripped off the internet before anyone could actually pre-order it. It's black on the surface, it looks incredible, but it's actually cooler when you take a closer look at it. So if you zoom in on the DualSense controller that comes with it, you'll notice that the buttons aren't that clear single color look you get with the DualSense out of the box. It's actually more colored like the PS2, with the cross, circle, square, and triangle all being the same colors as they were on the PS1, PS2, and I think PS3. Another cool detail is that the PS logo on the controller and on the console is that colorful version we used to see on PlayStation consoles. It's very nostalgic, and it reminds me of that PS1, PS4 that came out during the 20th anniversary celebration PlayStation did, but I honestly think this one's a little bit cooler just because I grew up with the PS2. That was the one that was relevant when I was a kid. It had Resident Evil 4, it had a ton of Ratchet and Clank games, it had some awesome stuff on it. Like Silent Hill was huge on the PS2, so I would really like to buy one of these PS2 edition PS5s, but like I mentioned at the beginning of this clip, they took them down before anyone could actually pre-order them. And I don't honestly know how much they were charging. That would probably deter me from actually picking one of these up. But hey, it's super cool, and I thought it was worth highlighting because this is really the only pre-order custom version that Sony has gone out of their way to take down, which is interesting because that tells me they could be working on some sort of black edition launch PS5 down the line. And I'm telling you right now, I will go out and spend money on that. I will do everything I can to get a black PS5. So this next custom PS5 is one from Spiderman Miles Morales, and it looks really cool on first glance, but there's a few things I don't really love about it. I'll start with the positives though. Just like with Ghost of Tsushima, I think the red and black look for this console is awesome, and that Spider-Man logo on the side itself looks really cool. I'm honestly just not a huge fan of the Spider logo being a 3D plastic looking piece that's just stuck on the side. I wish it was more engraved and then painted. It would keep the sleek look of the PS5 and sort of match the sleek look of Spider-Man Miles Morales. That game is a looker, it has awesome graphics, and it just has a really cool vibe, and this console is just about matching it. With just a few slight changes, I think it could get there. Personally, I was kind of surprised they didn't have a Spider-Man Special Edition PS5 at the console's launch, but then I thought about it, it probably comes down to the fact that they wanted to make as many PS5s as they could, period, to get them in as many people's hands as possible. So fragmenting things and trying to make a custom console just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Spider-Man 2 is definitely in development though, so I'm hoping we get something that looks this cool when that comes out. But again, Sony, don't take inspiration from the 3D look. I think you guys can just make it flat and sleek like you always do. All right, for the last console we're going to take a look at today, I saved the best or the worst depending on how you see it for last. This is the monstrosity, the Frankenstein itself, the PS Xbox. So the story on this console, which you may have seen in a previous video on this channel or over on my friend Austin's channel, is that he really wanted to make a double-wide PS5 that also has an Xbox Series S hidden within it and has double the HDMI ports, double the power ports, double the USB ports, double the power buttons. It's literally just two consoles put together in one chassis. And if you haven't seen those videos I just mentioned, he actually did it and it came out pretty cool. In the video we did here on my channel, we were actually able to play a game of Fortnite together on both consoles at the same time with two monitors. So we used both HDMI ports connected to one monitor each, and we each connected to Fortnite on the respective consoles, and then we were able to use the crossplay to play a duos game, and that's where I found out that Fortnite has bots, so all my victory royales when I came back to that game during the Marvel season didn't actually count, which really sucks. But yeah, when you look at this console, it's pretty clear that it's actually a prototype. The plastic's kind of bent, some of the buttons don't always work, and the magnets seem to fall off or stick to things they shouldn't, but at the end of the day, it is a really cool idea, and I think it's awesome that Austin created something that if you're a big traveler or something like that, you can take this big fat console with you and have the best of both worlds. So you could switch over from State of Decay 2 on the Xbox and play Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart all from the same machine, which is just awesome. It's cool, it's creative, and it shows that the console wars can end one day just by putting both consoles together into one machine. I don't think that's ever gonna happen officially, but I would like to see it. So yeah, that was a few of my favorite PS5s I was able to find around the internet. Make sure you let me know if you liked any of them down in the comments below, and if you found any that I didn't feature that you think are pretty cool, link them in the comments as well. And remember, if you want to stay PS ready, subscribe and set your notifications to all. As always guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne, and I'll see you in the next one. Shape on. That is the outro for my channel. So as always guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.